Today marks the third year of this administration since its inception on the 29th of May 2015. It is historic that our democracy is being entrenched given the great mark of nearly 2 decades of uninterrupted democratic rule and its enduring legacy. You may recall that the administration came on board on the crest of popular mandate. Since then, with the support and cooperation of well-meaning people of our dear state, we've been navigating slowly with heavy steps, but on the right path, given the very challenging and tortuous journey of the past years, in view of the lean resources in the face of increasingly competing demands. We did not, however, allow such experience of frustration to deter us from doing the needful by embarking on a series of revolutionary changes to give the state and citizenry a new life. Yet, we've been keeping faith with the citizenry in the delivery of our electoral promises. Some progressives, whom we started this journey with, have wished to be part of this success story, but have departed this world. May their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed rest in peace with the Lord. We also give glory and praise to Almighty God for the protection, wisdom, gains, and achievements so far recorded. On behalf of the rescue teams, I sincerely thank members of the State Executive and Security Councils and all the citizens of the state for the constant and unalloyed support and sacrifices for the good of the state in the last 3 years, in spite of numerous challenges. As we are at the threshold and eve of election year, I have chosen the theme of my address to be, quote, integrity, accountability, and transparency in leadership, unquote. My stand on the principles of integrity, accountability, and transparency in leadership. My decision to particularly dedicate the theme of this year's Democracy Day speech to issues bordering on integrity, accountability, and transparency in leadership stems from the desire to further entrench this as a standard in responsive and people-oriented governance. Fellow citizens of Plateau State will also recall that in my first and second anniversary speeches, I have maintained a solemn pledge to serve with integrity and patriotic zeal. During the early days of campaigns and over these years, we started by asking questions about governance, service delivery, justice, peace and unity, as well as sought your mandate, which was freely and willingly given by you, the good people of Plateau State, but with a caveat demanding a fair deal in leadership. It was indeed imperative during our stewardship that we philosophically ask questions and in the process question answers as well. In this way, integrity, accountability, and transparency as hallmarks or core principles of good governance were emphasized in order to ensure justice and equity. In giving this mission report, I seek to rely on virtues of truth. Truth, as we know, is also the soul of integrity, accountability, and transparency in leadership. Today, as we mark the 3rd year of our administration and entering the last year of the first tenure, we are duty bound to give a mission report, take stock, and assure you on sustaining our rescue and deliverance agenda. The reality is indeed not lost on us that leaders at whatever levels must give accounts of their stewardship, if not now, but thereafter. It was in this vein that administration set up the Professor Soni Gwanle Jordan Transition Committee to take stock of all our assets and liabilities towards providing a clean slate for takeoff of the administration. Thus, as part of the accountability and transparency, the report and other policy documents were received, carefully studied and adopted, along with the proceedings of our town hall meetings and Peace and Reconciliation Committee. With these strategic initiatives, the administration hit the ground running. Thus, during this period of rebalancing and confidence building in governance, we were able to assiduously identify over 245 issues to be addressed, with timelessness for the purpose of good governance. Substantial achievements have been recorded. This included continuity and completion of abandoned projects, dispute resolutions that saw the new Youth Council leadership fully back over 8 years in limbo, establishment of Plateau Peace Building Agency, youth and women empowerment programs, recruitments or mass employment in the civil and public services, improved agricultural activities, up-to-date impairment of salaries and pension, improvement in the educational and agricultural sectors, establishment of several legal and institutional frameworks, enhanced collaboration with federal and international bodies as they relate to our state and the nation, resuscitation of the cultural activities and peace carnivals in this our home of peace and tourism, setting up a judicial commission of inquiry, and so on. For the records and clearing of doubts, government instituted the Justice Stephen Ada Commission of Inquiry to probe the activities of the previous administration in the spirit of drawing up a demarcation on where the state stood in the past and where it intends to move now and thereafter. These exercises, for the avoidance of doubt, were carried out in response to the yearning and aspirations of the people who have continued to demand to know how their finances and affairs have been run and managed. Findings of the Commission of Inquiry, which are without prejudice, reveal substantial evidences of corruption and impropriety, have been forwarded to assist in recovering our stolen monies from all those who have cut corners or dipped their hands in the public coffers or treasury. Nevertheless, the anti-corruption agencies, especially the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission (ICPC), which have no sacred cows, have been sniffing around to ensure that looted funds are recovered and returned to this treasury. These steps are not aimed at witch hunting, as is being wrongly perceived in some quarters. For the record, by my disposition in life, I do not take any pleasure or gain in witch hunting anyone, as being peddled by those who have chosen, either out of mischief or ignorance, to give an ethnic or political coloration to the recent activities of the anti-graft agency in the state. Under a democratic dispensation, people have the right to hold their own opinions, but the fight against corruption should be seen as an issue that borders on governance and has nothing to do with any ethnic, religious, or political leanings. Let it be known that the fight against corruption is solely the mandate of the anti-graft agencies, which are statutorily empowered by the relevant acts of the National Assembly to prosecute corrupt practices. I still stand by what I always say, and say again on Sunday the 28th May 2018, at the solemn occasion of the 94th General Church Council of the Church of Christ in Nations, regarding my clear position on issues of integrity and transparency in leadership. Without having to bore you with the details of the quantum of achievements of this administration in the past 3 years, let me still state that we are living witnesses to the fact that as part of our commitment to render accounts of my stewardship to the people of the state, I had in 2017 and 2018 presented 3 separate documents to the public domain, namely, first, the midterm report of the administration, which was done on the 29 May 2015 and 29 May 2017. 2. Landmark achievements of the administration, 29 June 2015 and 28 February 2018. And 3. Plateau State Roadmap to Peace, 2018 to 2022, the first of its kind nationwide, as a policy document to guide the deployment of our strategies, efforts and energies towards this important component of existence, regular dialogue and minimizing conflict. This roadmap was presented and launched during the 2 days official visit of President Muhammadu Buhari GCFR to the state. All these documents have been in wide circulation. In fact, since assuming office the past 3 years, Plateau State remains one of the most livable places in the country, given the reasonable cost of living, ethnic diversity, clement weather, and above all, a regional renaissance of seismic peace and stability for sustainable developments to follow. All these have significantly contributed in entrenching confidence and hope in governance. Most critical, however, and worthy of mention and appreciation is that all this mantra of rescue, integrity, accountability, and transparency as hallmarks of quality leadership would not have been possible without the excellent executive-legislative working relationship. This cordial relationship also extends to our elected representatives at both the Senate and the House of Representatives, which is sincerely appreciated. Good leadership and governance entails having practically functional and strong institutional and legal framework. I sincerely commend the Right Honorable Speaker and all honorable members of the State House of Assembly for their diligence and patriotism in considering and passing into law several executive bills that have ensured the peaceful coexistence and good governance being provided. The administration wishes to place on record its strong commitment to the sustenance of welfare, peace and security of the average Plateau person in the discharge of its mandate. My dear people of Plateau State, we recall that right from day one, we had initiated and adopted the 5 pillar trust as our governance philosophy, with which to pull the state out of the doldrums. Let me reiterate here that this policy trust, namely peace, security, and good governance. 2. Human capital development and social welfare. 3. Agriculture and rural development. 4. Entrepreneurship and industrialization. And 5. Physical infrastructure and environment. We are all tailored in line with the yearnings and aspirations of the people of Plateau State. 3 years down the memory lane, we have strived to live up to expectations in terms of accomplishing the mandate and sustaining the tempo. After the presentation of our midterm report and town hall meeting on 29 May 2017, about 70 issues cutting across critical sectors of agriculture, education, civil service, environment, health, peace and reconciliation, infrastructure development, and so on, were identified with timelessness, set in the spirit of continuity and consolidation. Implementation of the policy trust, which have direct bearing on the lives of teeming citizens of the state, will be sustained, despite challenges of limited resources and increasingly competing demands of the citizens. Government is committed to the implementation of its plans towards sustainable peace and development in the state. Alongside with this effort and determination towards peace and security in the state, I made a right choice in having my able Deputy Governor, Professor Sonny Tioden, who has been efficiently handling boundary issues with the result that conflicts have been very minimal or absent. As a government, our quest for sustaining the relative peace being enjoyed cannot be substituted. This desire led to a pursuit and substitute for the establishment of the Police Mobile Squadron Unit in Longwell, Shandam Local Government, and the 205 Combat Search and Rescue Operation Unit of the Nigerian Air Force in Kerang, Mangu Local Government area. These are testimonies of our synergy with the federal government. We shall continue to support the security agencies towards its sustenance as recently done with the provision of 53 logistic vehicles in Shandam. Given the imperative and constitutional duty of the government to protect life and property of every citizen, we shall also continue to dedicate resources and energy towards these responsibilities. Just as we commiserate with the families of all those who lost their lives and property to tragic activities of the headsmen in some localities, let them know that the government shares in their pains and sorrows. I appeal that citizens should continuously inculcate the virtues of being brothers keepers, remain vigilant and cooperate with the security agents and traditional leaders in their domains. In the provision of critical infrastructure, we've adopted the principles of continuity, which no doubt enable us to complete and commission several projects abandoned by the previous administration at great cost to the people of the state. For instance, we've completed the following: the Hillcrest Plateau Hospital Road, completion of Plateau Hospital Dental Clinic Dogom Kerfe Road, Zololo Nasarawa Gongduse Uku Road, Tudunwada Angwanyashi Road, Dom Rantiage Road, dualization of all airport refill road with spur at Dogom Kerfe, Ugia, Wandang and New Government House, Kufang Wildlife Park Road with spur to Domkatbali and Bitrus Rangpam Road, Main Market Street to Duse Uku, Kabong Satellite Market to Tudunwada Road stroke Sabongari with spur to Mado Wildlife Park, Rantia State Locus to Bambi Road, Zololo Dilimi to Zandi Road, Zololo to Dilimi, Plateau Hospital Dogom Kerfe, Dental Clinic Phototek, Tina Junction to Yanshanu Metropolitan Road. The main arterial Jospukur Maraban Jama Road has been completed and commissioned. Despite discontinuity and completion, a total of 22 ongoing rural road projects with contractors already mobilized to sites. In the agricultural sector, being one of the critical components in the new diversification agenda, we have repositioned it through deliberate and strategic initiatives of promoting agricultural mechanization. We have already reactivated our fertilizer blending plant at Bokos and have also recently purchased 400 tractors ready for distribution to farmers through their cooperatives at subsidized rates. We have employed 400 extension workers. Furthermore, their input support through fertilizers, herbicides, insecticides, and seeds have been provided at subsidized rates. The Panyam fish farm has been witnessing remarkable improvements in fish fingerlings production and cropping or harvest. All these initiatives in agricultural activities have led to yearly bumper harvest, food security, and poverty alleviation. In the education sector, we have ensured that from the formative stage of primary and secondary to tertiary level, they receive substantial boost. Our efforts of sustainable funding for innovation and construction works, complemented with funding support of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, have led to remarkable improvements in renovation and construction works, manpower recruitment, as well as procurements in order to ensure standards are maintained and fast-track their accreditation processes. The Plateau State University, Bokos, and Plateau State Polytechnic have just had another dose of accreditation exercise of their several programs. Very soon, with more government support, other tertiary institutions like the College of Education Gindiri, College of Agriculture Gawa will follow soon. Similar intention has been granted to primary and secondary schools, where we have recruited at least 4,834 teachers, respectively, and still determined to improve in provision of manpower and facilities. In the health sector, we've renovated, constructed, and completed several abandoned hospital projects, such as the one in Riom, Kanke, and Lantansar, while the Plateau Specialist Hospital is being given massive facelift. We also accomplished the Plateau State Primary Healthcare Development Board to further establish the Plateau State Primary Healthcare Development Board to further cater for the basic healthcare needs of our people. In setting the pace on welfare, payment of salaries was accorded top priority, beyond the so-called rhetoric of rights of citizens. Yes, indeed a laborer deserves his or her legitimate income, if truthfully. We believe in integrity, accountability, and transparency, blended with the fear of God. If, however, these norms are deliberately misplaced at the expense of the citizenry, it becomes a moral burden and indeed a crime. We have for the past 3 years and still counting continued with the payment of salaries as and when due, thereby bringing smiles to the workers with positive implications and multiplier effects to the state economy. It is obvious that when we clear the over 12-month salaries and pensions that we have inherited, it remains a gain to this administration for exhibiting integrity, transparency, and compassion to the workers and pensioners whom we must always be accountable to. This is more so by simple logic. If an average wage of over 2 billion naira for over 12 months was denied and misplaced, but paid by this administration, the simple arithmetic will be that the amount of about 20 billion would have taken care of about 40 rural roads at an average of 500 million naira each. The above issues go hand in hand with fiscal discipline. We embrace prudence and due diligence in all our financial dealings to ensure accountability and transparency in government. In this respect, we kick into the Treasury single account and equally created the efficiency unit, which have ensured blockage of leakages and leading to huge savings. Huge savings have greater tendency of boosting the economy in the long run. Thus, now in our effort to achieve this, government involves some strategic initiatives of job creation, poverty alleviation within the context of our 3E dimensional strategies of employment, empowerment, and engagement. In doing so, we received and revamped some of our industries that were in comatose, as well as signing memorandum of understanding with prospective investors through the Public-Private Partnership, PPP. We also established the microfinance and small-medium enterprises, which has trained over 4,000 youths and women on entrepreneurship skills and many given starter packs with the support of some organizations like the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, and some microfinance banks. The cheering news is that we are today reputed to be the first and the most friendly state in Nigeria that has one-stop shop, stock clinic, and hope to benefit from federal government's intervention for more entrepreneurial skills and skill development. All these have helped in improving the state economy and reducing unemployment. On the civil service, being sensitive to the sector and its unique role and contribution in driving the process of governance, we have sanitized the ills of the past and focused on future aspirations. The impact of our action was seen in restoration of confidence, in strengthening the efficiency of service delivery. The successes recorded in the service include several promotions, conversions, placements, confirmations, and a host of many turnaround. I commend the dexterity, zeal, and patriotism of civil servants in keeping faith with the government and bearing with the hard times. On youth and sports, we have strived in improving the sector with tremendous encouragement from the government. The state athletes have participated in several events, nationally and internationally, and won 342 medals, made up of 118 gold, 102 silver, and 122 bronze. We have made concerted efforts at completing the 45,000 seating capacity of the ultra-modern Olympic-sized stadium, Zaria Road. Most memorable too was the participation and the winning of the 2017 Premier League Cup by the Plateau United Football Club, thereby lifting us to the Confederation of African Football, CAF. The traditional institutions have continued to receive special attention, given the role they have been playing as custodians of our traditional values and in sustenance of peace and security. For maximum benefit, we set machineries whereby many vacant stools across the state have been filled. Government hopes to ensure that outstanding ones are filled without delay. On issues of political appointments and balancing, apart from the several membership into federal boards and parastatals, we've benefited and still hoping for more. You recall that recently I approved political appointments of over 300 chairmen and members into boards, parastatals, commissions, and tertiary institutions that are cut across the 3 geopolitical zones of the state. All the board chairmen and members have been inaugurated, and many have hit the ground running. As expected of boards or council members, they are to strictly formulate policies in synergy with the management, who in turn are to ensure day-to-day implementation of these policies and other set objectives of the administration. We hope that through diligence and commitment, They will be able to stimulate and, where feasible, inject new life into some moribund organizations, improve infrastructure such as repositioning the transportation services, commerce, internal revenue, environment, tourism, rural water supply, rural assets access, and agricultural marketing, and so on. Fellow citizens, arising from the above succinct account, the successes of this administration recorded in different sectors of the economy in the last 3 years should keep encouraging us to do more. We are in the best position to judge our efforts in addressing the numerous expectations as to whether things have changed for the better in Plateau State. The modest achievements enumerated above in the light of our 5 policy thrusts are not exhaustive, and the several national and international awards and honors accorded me in the different areas have, on my honor, been dedicated to the good people of Plateau State, given their tremendous support and loyalty. In terms of synergy with federal government, during the past 3 years of stewardship, the administration has enjoyed robust working relationship with Mr. President and the federal government. You will recall that we had the privilege of hosting His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari GCFR during his 2 days working visit to the state. The commitment of the federal government to the realization of the Nigerian project has not left us in doubt as to Mr. President's genuine intentions for Nigerians as reflected in key interventions, as well as pragmatic policies and programs. These gains include prompt interventions in the following areas, among several others. 1. The release of over 800 billion bailout funds to all the states, including Plateau, and the eventful release of Paris Club reforms have dramatically worked out. 2. In agriculture, the potato value support chain and the anchor borrower scheme. 3. Economic empowerment, the social intervention program, social safety net, empower scheme, and the constitutional cash transfers, the homegrown school feeding programs. 4. Some ongoing construction of the Pangshin, Tapshin, Gambar, Sara, Kai, Gindiri Federal Road. 5. Education. Several TED fund interventions in some of our tertiary institutions. 6. Health. Several interventions like the National Immunization Program and some World Bank assisted programs geared towards improving healthcare delivery and combating killer diseases. 7. Promotion of security and fight against corruption has placed the country on the path of sustainable development. Indeed, the change mantra has created the desired impacts on critical sectors of the Nigerian economy. We are vigorously pursuing special requests made to the presidency for the benefit of the state, such as dualization of the Abuja-Jos Road, requests for synergy and intervention for a major two-mass services and center along the Hawan-Kibo area, support to our peace building initiatives and roadmap or blueprint. We remain entirely grateful to Mr. President and look forward to more sustainable synergy and working relationship. Other plans of the administration. Fellow citizens of Plateau State, while I still salute the patience, cooperation, and resilience of Plateau people in our struggle to change things for the better, this is the last lap of the first tenure of the rescue administration on the Plateau, and we are very conscious of the expectations of the people. Indeed, as we enter the 4th year in the life of the administration, we consider it a period of consolidation of the gains recorded so far. We therefore intend to sustain all people-oriented engagements in the delivery of dividends of democracy, even as we avoid undue distractions by the unfolding flurry of political activities in the state as we approach the electioneering year. Our 22 rural roads spread across all parts of the state, by the grace of God, will continue to receive adequate attention so that we improve the lot of rural population. We are determined to ensure works continue to completion. Similarly, through the Plateau State Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency plus MEDA, we are desirous of reaching out to at least 1,000 persons per local government area with participants cutting across cultural and development associations and religious organizations. Our determination to ensure sustainable peace in the state through continuous dialogue, security watch, and effective peace architecture remain unwavering. We shall continue to work in synergy with the federal government to attain the set objectives of ensuring that all our internally displaced people are resettled in their original places and their security guaranteed. I urge you all citizens in the state, and most especially the affected areas, to cooperate with government, the security agents, and other officials as they work assiduously to ensure the success of this enormous task. We are also very aware of the desire of the people for local government elections to be conducted. I wish to assure citizens of the state that in no distant time, local government elections will be conducted as soon as we receive security clearance from relevant security agencies. Citizens of the state will be aware that security is a major concern to us as a government, and this cannot be sacrificed under whatever guise. It is also the intention of the administration to sustain prompt payment of workers' salaries and pensions towards bettering the living conditions and motivating them for effective service delivery. The economic multiplier effects of monthly payment of salaries and pensions to the workforce and their dependents is better imagined as against the past ordeals the citizens seasonally went through. Passionate appeals. I cannot end this speech without making some passionate appeals to the teeming citizens of the state. First and foremost, the task of meeting the expectations of the people, especially under an economic recession period, has been indeed Herculean. In spite of all the suffocating economic difficulties encountered by all in the wake of this negative trend, your resilience is very much appreciated, and hopefully in the coming years we hope to reap the benefits. I wish to appeal to our youth who are leaders of tomorrow to reawaken their consciences and refuse to be used as agents of destruction and mayhem. The future, understandably, belongs to the youth, and they as leaders of tomorrow should not take part in destroying the legacies that destiny shall one day call upon them to protect. This is even as the rescue administration strives to employ, engage, and empower them. Whatever patriotic activities they engage in must be dedicated on moral rectitude of truth. Since coming into office, this administration has been preaching ideas of constructive criticism. As we approach campaign period, we must strive to avoid unnecessary bickering, false propaganda, and consensuous ignorance over issues we are not very sure of. In the coming months, politics and campaigns should please be based on issues, not lies, insults, and vitriolic sentiments. Most critical, in our effort to propagate ideas of service to humanity, we should strive to inform, not inflame public sensibility. In this way, we'll be able to eschew violence and embrace peace in all our dealings, just as the government will continue to ensure that within its constitutional powers, it creates the necessary conditions to balance peace with pragmatic development. As a mark of our appreciation and thanksgiving to God for the guidance, protection, and successes recorded, and in exercise of the powers conferred on me as governor in Section 212 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, I have granted prerogative of mercy to 2 prisoners as follows. 1. Criminal conviction of 10 years is now committed to 2 years imprisonment, and 1 life imprisonment is now committed to 22 years, effective from the different dates of sentences. Finally, while thanking you for listening and being a part of the Plateau Rescue Consolidation and Continuity Project arising from hallmarks of integrity, accountability, and transparency in leadership, I wish you all a happy Democracy Day and continuous peace and harmony on the Plateau and Nigeria at large. Long live Plateau State, long live Nigeria. Thank you. God bless. Good stuff.